show what your name is. Do you have a man who you came with?
All right.
Purposes.
Okay. Well, let's go.
Cool. Welcome back, y'all. Are we going live?
You want to go live? Let's go live. Somebody might pop in. Just like my
Just do it.
this woman from my church last time. She was like, "I'm so happy I fell upon this."
Oh, really?
That was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Oh, from my church back in Boston. She was just like, "This was such a good conversation." I'm so happy. And I know, like, if we had like posted it or something, she might not have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I need some nutrients.
Ooh, plug. Eat Right Atlanta. I just ordered my first little box from them. They are like a farmer's market of sorts. Like they sell fresh fruit and veggies. In like you get like a little package. They'll tell you like what they have available, and then you get like a little package. They deliver it to your house, and yeah. So I got like some mangoes and some like cherries and.
Ooh, which one did you get? I'm on this site right now.
I got the pick 10, so I got 5 veggies and 5 fruit.
Okay.
And it was I think like $30.
I'm into this.
For 10 things, and they came to my house. Like
that's the convenient thing.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we're streaming.
Oh.
We're just talking about eatrightatlanta.com. Get your vegetables, get your fruits, people. Are these black? Is this black owned?
I believe so. They have a lot of black people on their site, but the guy who was the delivery driver was white, which surprised me. I was not expecting to see any white people on that particular day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I won't reserve my comment because we're live. Hello, world.
That's funny.
All right, let's do this. If you are just now tuning in, you are tuning in to the umpteenth episode of Street Academy Podcast.
Hey.
Welcome back, y'all. Street Academy Podcast, where we keep 1 foot in the academy and 1 foot in the streetsies. This is our anniversary episode. It has been 1 year since I don't have a hat, y'all.
It's our anniversary.
So I got my hoodie.
See, they made this announcement on an episode of Living Single, so you might have missed it because you know.
Oh, very good, Jackie.
Coming in on the anniversary.
Very good, my friend.
It was unnecessary shade. Unnecessary shade.
Right amount of shade.
You see the shots coming out?
Completely unnecessary.
You see the shots coming out?
Yes.
Bad and bougie. Listen, anniversary episode is here and underway.
We're 1 year old. We're 1 year old.
1 year old, man.
Happy birthday, happy anniversary.
Happy
Happy birthday. It's both of them. It's the anniversary of
happy everything.
Happy
yes.
We have been doing this for exactly. We started Memorial. I can't remember if we shot on Memorial Day weekend or we released it on Memorial Day weekend, but whatever.
Oh, this makes me realize we need to get the exact date we were born, the actual date that we recorded.
That's true. Yeah.
Let's see if I can figure that out real quick.
Something like that.
Continue in your prep. I'll find our exact date.
So that's why I got us in the background right here.
I love it.
Amber, but you can see Amber though.
That was a perfect moment.
And Amber's booked and busy, so that's why her phone is ringing.
That wasn't me.
Oh, that was Dr. Bad and Bougie.
Yes,
booked and busy.
I apologize.
Booked and busy. Yeah. So anyway, that's why we got Street Academy on the background. That's why we got the birthday hats to celebrate our birthday, our 1 year of doing Street Academy podcast. Reggae horns, Jamaican Caribbean horns, reggae horns going up and down is what it is. So we appreciate everybody who's been rocking with us since the very beginning, since the very first episode, when we didn't give no rollout, we didn't give no announcement. We was just like, we did something. We just decided to do something, and here it is. And we got a lot of love. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of love. We got a lot of support. We was just trying it out just to see how people will respond. People did respond. They liked the conversations and the things that we were talking about. And so, then we just decided to keep going. Then at the end of 2020, starting 2021, we said, okay, well, if we're gonna really do this, then let's organize it. Let's get an IG page. Let's get a YouTube page. Let's really create a for real platform. Let's really put some work into this thing. And so that's when we started, getting out and being available on different podcasts. I always get the updates, and so we're spreading out to different countries now. So we was in Germany, we was in Canada, now we in the motherland.
That's beautiful.
Different people are tuning in, checking out and listening to the podcast. So you could check us out on YouTube. You could check us out on Spotify. You could check us out on Apple Podcasts. You can check us out almost anywhere where you can get podcasts. So yeah.
Yay.
We doing it.
Yes, go us.
And we're taking one step at a time. Yeah. We're not trying to just like, it's just, I appreciate the way that our rollout has happened. Like it hasn't been, it's as manageable as it can be for us all, I think that's good. And it's just like our views will come up slowly but surely, and that's good and that's fine. And we embrace the growth process. I think that's important. We're embracing the growth process. We're not expecting like, oh, you got 50,000 views in our first year. It's just like, we're like, hey, we're making this easy breezy. And we're still, I think too, what's good about this is that the practice is for us as well. Yeah. It's like we're putting it out there, and it's also because we genuinely like each other and we want to talk and we want to talk about things. And I want to hear what John has to say about something. I want to hear what Jackie has to say about something. And then we also have networks of people who are just very fascinating people. They're experts in what they do, or they have really interesting opinions, and we can tap into those networks and come into conversation, because conversation is beautiful. So regardless of how it may turn out in this first year, we do of course hope to get our viewership up. It's still happening though. The conversation is still happening, and that's good. And I feel really good about that.
Me too. I mean, I feel like there have been times that people have texted me or called me just to say, I really appreciated the conversation that y'all had. And so that to me makes it all, that's the whole point of this. Like when we started, we said, hey, we're having these conversations and maybe people would be interested.
Exactly.
And so to see that come into fruition is really beautiful.
It is. Yeah. Well, we kind of did a quick off the Georgia Dome, but let's go into the segment anyway. Quick off the Georgia Dome. What are your feelings about the anniversary 1 year in about a minute? Each of us off the Georgia Dome. I can get started.
Let's do it.
Oh, go for it.
All right. Quick off the Georgia Dome for me. I feel like I'm just.
Oh, I got to change the view on this. I got to do it.
I just feel like I'm surrounded by such Black excellence, and I'm just happy for this moment because this is documentation, and it's just like this happened because in 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, when we're like old and trying to maybe still, hopefully we're old and Sprite. But it's just like we have this, our younger selves talking about stuff. And I can't wait to see how our ideas continue to evolve and be able to go back and look and say, yo, I used to say these things. This is crazy. I knew nothing. Or maybe, wow, I had it completely together at 30 something, And so I'm just so thankful that we have this and that we have each other and that we were willing to do this together. So I'm coming from a place of gratitude and like imagining us super old and coming back to this and saying, oh, remember when we were 1 year old? That kind of thing. Our first anniversary show. Yeah. Uh-oh, Jackie, you muted.
I am?
Oh, no.
Now you are.
Okay.
That was mine.
I wasn't even thinking about it in that way, but what you made me think of, remember when we were like younger, like elementary school, middle school, like time capsules were a thing. Like they made us do like time capsules. I feel like this is like our version of a time capsule that we can look back on in however many years, which is really cool to think about. But I feel like it went by so fast. Like just considering all the things that happen in the world. And maybe that's part of why it feels like it went by so fast, because like we lived like 50 years of history in 1 year. These kids who are about to be carrying around these history books, they are going to be struggling. Like the chiropractors need to get ready because the history books are going to be thick when it comes to history books. Yes. So, but it just feels like it went by so fast, and I feel like I'm thankful for this space of just like respite and grounding, considering all the things that have been happening in the world around us in the past year.
Yo, I'm thinking about the journey of it, like just how I like what Amber said. She was like, our viewership will go up and, different people will know more. And sometimes it's interesting because sometimes the viewership may be low on YouTube, but it'll be high on on the audio. And then sometimes it may be low on the audio, but then it'll be high on the YouTube. I know I don't always share those stats, but it actually is growing in like other places, and then not only that part is important, but also the impact that it's making. So like when Jackie was saying, some of the people who reached out to her personally to say, yo, I love that conversation, that really helped me, or even some of our guests who come on here and say, yo, thank you for giving me that platform to talk about this, to talk about my story. All of those things are just so important. And it's what I love about it is the uncertainty too. Like sometimes we may put together an episode and we think, yo, I think this is gonna be dope, everybody gonna love this, and it may not hit. It might have low viewership, but then we might put together something like, oh, okay, maybe people might like it, I don't know, we like it, and then it might just be amazing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about the journey. It's just about putting together something that and I remember one of the things when I was learning and I was like looking at different things about how to put a podcast together, Kev on Stage said, and he's one of my favorite podcasters, he said, if you want to do a podcast, the first thing you need to do is be prepared to do 100 episodes without getting the views that you want. That's the first thing you need to be prepared for, because it's not going to hit. It's not going to hit as soon as you want it to, more than likely. Obviously you have those anomalies, or if you're like rich and white and you have a whole machine around you, then sure. But, be prepared to put out lots of content and, just have it be a slow burn. And sometimes it's like that, And so, but what happens is when it does hit, now you have all this stuff that people can go back, they can be, and now you are building more than just a fad, but you're building like a real fan base, a real family, a real people who really are into whatever it is that you're doing. So it's a great experience. It's a great journey. I'm so happy to be on this journey with these queens, people who just inspire me. They uplift me. I learn so much. I grow so much. I'm expanded. I'm challenged. I'm grateful. I'm learning to look at things in a different light. And so I'm always so grateful to have both Amber and Jackie as part of this journey. And I always tell people, anybody, I say the key to success is Black women. You got to keep Black women around you. Hey. that's the key to any
major key.
Any success you have, a successful corporation, organization, relationship, whatever. You got to keep Black women around you. So I'm happy to have these sisters with me. So that's my Off the Georgia Dome.
Hey, that was beautiful.
John. Beautiful.
Well, now we're going to go into the main segment, and going off of what you said, John, like, what were some of those like really impactful moments for you? What are some of those big learnings that happened during the Street Academy podcast recording?
Big, you mean in terms of the show or in terms of just the whole process?
Actually, either.
Okay.
I was at first thinking just the show, but you're right. The process is definitely a piece of it. So,
Yeah, I've learned a lot about like like editing and like marketing and stuff like that. That part has probably been the biggest learning experience I've had. The easy stuff is kind of like just talking. Like I can talk forever, you know,
Mhm.
and have conversations, but like, you know, learning about the editing and the software, that stuff I never did. Even when I was doing
Oh, okay.
music and stuff like that, like I would always depend on like, you know, the engineer to do that kind of stuff or the producer. They did all of that. I was just kind of the creative. I came,
Mhm.
I did my art, and that was it. And I was cool with that. So being kind of pushed into another format and stretching myself and challenging myself and being, I wouldn't say I'm successful at it, but enough to get us to a 1 year anniversary. Um that part I think I'm really pleased with in terms of what I've learned, and what's kind of impacted me the most is like doing something different in terms of, you know, in terms of artistry. So not just being the creative, but also being the engineer, the producer, or whatever
Right.
behind the creativity too. That's been cool.
So can we pause for a moment and make sure that we celebrate and thank John, because John has
Oh,
been the one
you know what? Let me get up out of here.
putting all of the stuff, all of our content online, everything. Wait, is he blushing?
Yeah,
This is even better. No, this is even better. Hitting us with the headshot. Come on, smoldering glance. Yes.
Smoldering. John, we thank you so much. We thank you so much. I just want to make sure world viewers, y'all know that every anything that you see online from Street Academy Podcast, John has put it up there. He is our resident engineer person, and we just completely appreciate you, John, for taking the time to also learn all of this stuff so that we could do this. And so we would not have this podcast at all if John did not create the Instagram page, and not like start figuring out like doing the video editing, create the YouTube page, put it all up there. It has been John. And so we appreciate you, John. And I'm glad that this has been a learning experience for you as well in that regard. So
thank you.
we appreciate you, John.
Yes. The multi-hyphenate, the social media director, the executive producer, the sound engineer.
Yes.
How many more hyphens? Host.
So good.
I'm just, you know, trying to get my Nick Cannon on. You know what I'm saying? I'll be hosting the Masked Singer next season. Yeah.
And then maybe the Apollo, if that ever comes back.
Apollo 2021.
Then you start doing Family Feud.
Homeboy had like 4 babies.
Have my daughter date Michael B. Jordan.
Listen, Homeboy had like 4 babies in 6 months. He might need to Nick Cannon. He might need to slow it down.
You know what? I heard somebody say Nick Cannon trying to create his own Wildin' Out Black team.
Hey, I missed that. He been having kids.
He got like several. How many? He got like
Several.
5 or 6 kids now.
Several.
His
Homeboy is fertile. He is a fertile myrtle. My goodness.
Fertile myrtle.
Oh, that's real reckless. 4th baby in a year. I just think about this one line I heard. What song was it? But they were like, you know, having a whole bunch of baby mamas sounds like a job, not a family. And I was just like, I appreciate that.
Think so.
He was saying, well, you don't think having a whole bunch of baby mamas like 10,
like 5, 10,
like 5 or 10?
No, I think it really depends on how you're doing it, and I mean it depends on your class status, right? If you're Nick Cannon,
for sure,
you know, and you can afford it, that's number one. But number two, Nick Cannon is on some other. He has a different kind of worldview in terms of, you know, relationships and village and all of that. He kind of is leaning more towards like polyamory and polygamy a little bit. He believes in kind of spreading love, so I don't think he falls into the traditional way of like family.
He's just spreading a lot of love.
Yeah, but I also, from what I understand, he takes very good care of his children. He takes very good care of the women. There's nothing negative coming out about him. So far, you know, it's all seemingly smooth. So I don't think it has to be a headache. I think it just, as long as everybody's on the same page and everybody's mature enough to handle, I don't want to say mature enough, but everybody has the same everybody understands how to handle whatever situation y'all are setting up, then I think it doesn't have to be a headache.
That's true. Let me fall back because I have to recognize that my idea of family is coming from a very specific place.
Right.
So I'm like, from the place that I'm looking at, I'm like, as I have typically seen the situations of like, I guess kind of like split family situations, it's sometimes they're because of class status is not typically a good situation as I've seen it. But because, like you said, mentioning class and changing your worldview on it, that could actually be a good situation for a lot of people. Speaking of that though, too, recently, my partner and I were looking up the etymology of the word family, and I would like to share my screen so that can you enable screen share, John?
Can I do that? Let me see. Go ahead and keep talking. I will.
Okay, because I want to show it. I probably should go to Etymology Online.
Meantime, I'll just say I appreciate that perspective because I feel like if this were happening in another country, on the continent somewhere where Nick Cannon had multiple children, multiple wife type figures, it probably wouldn't be as unusual, but definitely in this American context, it raises some flags. But if everybody is happy and he's doing what he needs to do, when he's present, they're all present, the kids are positive and not being traumatized, then what can I say?
This is true. And what can we say at all? At the same time, I feel like a Nick Cannon is different from like a Future. Can we be honest about that though?
You know how I feel about Future.
I'm just saying, can we be honest about that one? It's like that one is probably a little bit more problematic. But with that, this word of family, just kind of like in terms of the English word family, let us take a gander at this. Servants of a household. Members of a household, the estate, property, the household, including relatives and servants, abstract noun formed from family list, servant, slave. Just want to let you know that the origins of family comes from servitude and slavery, the actual word.
And I also noticed that it was a Latin word. It was a Latin, I guess, what is it called? I don't know. It was derived from a Latin term, which we know is European. So yeah.
That's actually a good point because I do wonder what family translates into in different African languages, because to be 100% honest, there are many days that I'm looking at stuff that I'm doing for family and I'm like, oh Lord, this is definitely some servitude in here.
Interesting what family means to people and for people, and how sometimes familial relationships can be used to kind of like keep people doing certain types of work or being in relationships that they don't want to be in because it's family, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think about servitude as it relates to position in family. Definitely like the oldest girl, there's some responsibilities that come with that in terms of like age and gender. But I mean, I guess maybe the oldest boy too, or I don't know, different sorts of roles. I guess it's just like everybody has their role that they plays in the family. They have their different responsibilities that come along with it.
And then I do think too, and I teach this in my intro to Soc class. I talk a little bit about the sociology of the family, intro to sociology and sociology of the family. And I always talk about how if we look at these definitions of the family, it's very Eurocentric, or it is based off of particularly within the US context, is based off of white people's experiences with family. And so they don't really take into account Black people's experience with family within the US context, because African families in the United States have always been disrupted by these larger systems of slavery, systems of racism, systems of capitalism. And so with us, we adopt people into our families that are not blood, that are not European blood family, members openly, right? We have friends that are closer to us than our family members,
Yeah.
dating back to the fact that our families were stripped from us for capitalist gain. You know, your mother could be sold off to this plantation, your father, your children, whatever. And so we've had to adopt godparents, and you know, we have godparents and godmothers and aunties and uncles and all of these people. So we've had to really redefine and recreate family in ways that work for whatever cultural goals we have as Black people, whatever it takes to survive this empire. And so, you know, when thinking about, you know, Nick Cannon, and when thinking about family in general, I always like to look at, well, what is the person's goal? How do they look at the world? What are their, you know, what are their belief systems like? And then how does that then relate to how they construct family? If a person has more traditional beliefs, beliefs that are more aligned with European ideas around family and stuff like that, then it would make sense to go in a certain direction. But if it's kind of counter to that, or if it rejects those ideas, then it might be something else. So
And it actually, that reminds me of this quote from Pose, the show Pose, that was at the end of an episode. And it was a quote by Hector Extravaganza. And we know, of course, there are many people in the queer community and the trans community who they get ostracized from their families, from their blood relatives completely. And so it's often, they will often find family or community in a whole group, a different group of people. And so there's this quote, and I really appreciate it. It said, blood does not family make. Those are relatives. Family are those with whom you share your good, bad, and ugly, and still love one another in the end. Those are the ones you select. And I appreciated that quote, because that just extends your ability to have what is considered family, because family can mean a lot for people. And even though, you know, family might be derivative of something else, we just are still, if you're raised in America, you have an idea of what family might look like, and you want that kind of connection. And if you don't have that, like, if you don't have that kind of connection with the blood relative, what is your alternative? But if you can't envision an alternative, or if you feel like you can't find like an equivalent alternative, it can really be debilitating and depressing. If you're like, oh, but my parents, and but this, you know, that can really be painful and hard to work through. And yet, if you can feel like, kind of going what John was saying, this definition of family, extending it, or even looking at this definition from Hector Extravaganza, that would be, it can be like, it can present more possibilities and hopefulness. And with that too, it makes me want to transition to what I felt like was one of my most impactful learning moments. And it's really been these last 2 episodes about motherhood. I am so stretched with just when Ayana said that we need to plan for our birth. That just made so much sense to me. It's just like, if you saving for vacations, if you saving for anything else, if you saving for furniture, whatever you saving for, save for your birth as well. And that just feels so practical. And I'm just like, that I need to do that. And then also, I think it was either Ayana or Shamika who said, postpartum is the rest of your life. After you have a child, that's it, period. Those things have really like done something to me. It's like, it's made me click in another way. And I'm just like, I got to start saving for birth. I want to be able to have options. When I think about what Neela and Keisha's stories were, when they were just talking about being able to Keisha was able to like kind of shop around for doctors. Neela wasn't able to do that so much. And so it's just like the importance of being able to set yourself up so that you can have options. And I'm just like, yo, especially when I'm bringing in another life into this planet, putting a whole soul together, extending my line, I want to be so much more intentional about it. So that has really like flicked something inside of me. That was a major moment. The other major moment actually was our COVID vaccine episode. And most out of all of the people who were there, because I know there was Andrew, there was another doctor, I forget her name at this exact moment, I'm sorry. And then Shayla, I know the most out of everyone. And so her just sharing her experience and her expertise about the vaccine, that really did. Alicia Shelley, my bad. And so shout out to all of them. And Shayla sharing her perspective, it just helped me be more open about the vaccine. And guys, I actually got my first shot. So my second shot is coming
Wow.
tomorrow. I'm probably going to take my second shot tomorrow. So Shayla, having a conversation with Shayla, mostly out of everything else, out of anything else I read, whatever, talking to a person I knew, a Black person I knew, a person I trusted, that shifted my thinking. And so that just, again, just shows me the power of conversation and the power of just like, whether this podcast is like viewed by 1,000 people, it's about like those specific connections. And I think that's so important. So yeah, I'm different. So if it wasn't for this podcast, I still probably wouldn't have this daggone vaccine. I probably still would just be thinking, I don't know. I wouldn't even be thinking about birth at all. And even from the conversation today, thinking about family and thinking about Nick Cannon. Oh God, I have a different perspective and I'm open. And I feel like that's the thing too. I feel like this podcast, and this is what I like about y'all too. We can challenge each other, but it's not like, you don't know nothing, you ignorant, person. It's just like, what about this though? And that just happened in this conversation. And I feel like that's so important for community and family and for safety and learning and growing. It's just like, how can you learn in community with folks? Like, I don't have to, it's non-threatening. It's not a threat for John to be able to be like, but though, da, 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 da. And it's like, okay, I can reasonably accept that. And let me tell you, when you get old, if you're the type of person who, well, no, I don't want to say the type of person. If you're a person with the tendency to not listen to others or not be open to others or to take offense really quickly or to not be able to weigh different opinions, you can really end up isolated and alone and unhappy. And don't nobody want to deal with you by the time you get super old, or even if you're super old, even if you kind of semi-old, nobody's going to want to deal with you. And nobody wants to live in isolation. And that is a fast path to the grave. And so I feel like it's so important to be able to actually have dialogue with people where you can kind of disagree, or it's not really even about a disagreement. It's just like, it's perspectives being shared and it's non-threatening. And so even in this moment, I appreciate that, where we can kind of sit and be like, I don't know. And then John over here saying he know how he feel about Future. And so it's just interesting. And even our other episode about J. Cole and No Name, and how we were just kind of on other sides about it. And John is over here like, man, and we over here like,
Yo, man, that was a big one.
It's so important to be able to be in this and still be like, this doesn't change anything in our relationship. This is what it means to be alive. It means to grow. It means to sometimes be wrong, or it means to be immature in your perspective. Like, again, like by you mentioning that whole thing about Nick Cannon and the different wider perspectives and him being polyamorous, that made me recall a previous conversation I had already about family, where I'm already thinking about that. But in the learning process, we have to pull all of those things together. Just because you're exposed to a new idea one time doesn't mean that your understanding or perspective about it has changed or shifted or has actually matured. It's that process of pulling those things together and making new connections where you actually begin to change your ideas and your ideas evolve and mature. So that's why all of this is just so important to me. Right. And I love it. All right.
That was so good.
That was good. Yeah.
That was so good. I'm trying to remember like what the initial like prompt was that you were like,
it's like, what's been one of the most impactful moments for you?
Okay.
Or maybe I should have I should is a bad word. I don't use should. If I ever use should, y'all make sure to tell me. Amber, you use a should. But anyway, I could have said, what was an aha moment for you during this whole Street Academy podcast? Any aha moments for you in the episodes?
I mean, first of all, Amber, I just appreciate that little trip down memory lane that you took us on. I wanted to, to listen to more. I don't know. I think this might be a little bit indirect, but I'm just realizing how many amazing Black women we've had as guests who've really like challenged our like just challenged us to think about things in different ways. And we've had like Black men on as guests as well, but not as many. And I think, I mean, that's something that we could definitely talk about as far as like Future, like not Future, the person. We don't have to talk about him at all.
Why
but
not? I don't understand.
you know why.
Why Nabadius? Nabadius keeps getting shunned. Nabadius, if you ever see Street, I think that's his name. Nate.
It's something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Google search. Keep talking.
But yeah, like in the future, I would love to have more Black men on as guests, and just like getting their perspective on different topics. But I mean, we can bring that into fruition in the future. But yeah, I mean, I just think about how many just in the past couple of weeks, we've had some really amazing Black women that you mentioned, Amber. I think back to when we had Shelly, not Dr. Shelly, but Shelly Wellness on the pod. And it was just like amazing to talk about like health and food and those sorts of things together. So yeah, we've just had some really amazing Black women who, going back to your earlier point, John, if you want to do something, if you want to be successful, like not just like in terms of jobs or something like that, but if you just want to have like a successful approach to life, Black women, we hold those keys, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually so. And I don't know if you were going here with this, Amber. So if I'm jumping ahead, let me know. But some of my favorite episodes, just off the Georgia Dome, some of my favorite episodes was, one of them was definitely Shelly Wellness, and me and Shelly Wellness still like interact and talk to each other, you know, via social media. She was like, I learned so much from that episode. That one was really, really good. I really like that episode. Actually, in that one, I think we got a lot of feedback from that episode. Another one that we didn't get a lot of feedback, it was probably one of our lowest performing, I guess you can say, but it was my favorite. It was the one that I had up first, was the Black Joy episode. I love that episode. That was so fun to me. And when I go back and watch Street Academy podcast episodes, I always go back to that one. I could watch that one and I can listen to that one backwards and forwards. I'd be cracking up. I'd be laughing at everything. One of my favorite stories was Jackie's Cat Williams story.
Yes.
That was the best story. I love the story that Jackie told about Cat Williams. That was amazing. Another favorite episode I really enjoyed, a lot of people really enjoyed the Black Identity episode. I really loved that one. Especially when Teaspoon, it was guest starring half the teaspoon of Toxic coming through.
Tablespoon, pot spoon.
Junior.
Pot spoon of Toxic.
Future Junior.
Lord.
But when he talked about, you know, African people being called African booty scratcher and being picked on and stuff like that, but then turn around and then you want to adopt these ideas of like you want to wear the dashiki and you want to Swahili and, you know, whatever. It's like, you know, I could see now, I'm like, wow, that makes sense. That's why people can be very particular about who has access to their culture and who has access to things that are important to them. So it really made me kind of revise how, even as an African American, as somebody who wants to connect with Africa, I also have to show that I'm doing it out of this authentic, real love of reconnection with who I am and separating myself as much as I can from my, you know, from whiteness and European influence. So that was one thing that really stuck out to me in this past year. I'm trying to think of some other episodes. I really liked how when we talked about J. Cole and No Name, how we were just saying things, like the same arguments we had was the same argument that Angela Rye and Michael Eric Dyson was saying. And I'm just like, Street Academy been doing this before y'all. We've been doing this before y'all. We just ain't got the platform yet. And that just let me know, bro, we own something. We own something right now. We doing it. We just got to have to look. What Kanye say? I just need the infrastructure. I just need the. That's what I know you don't like.
Was that during the conversation with Sway?
Yeah, I think that was. Was it
okay.
Sway or was it Breakfast Club? He said that he was like, I just need the infrastructure. He was like, Mark Zuckerberg, call me, bro. Like I can do this. I just Street Academy. We just need. Look, I'm the Kanye of the group. Okay, if I gotta be the Kanye of the group, I got to do it. We just need the infrastructure. That's it. That's all we need.
Self-destruct. We talked about Future and Kanye West in the same 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord.
I did that on purpose, but yeah. Because I'm looking at Amber the whole time. I was looking at Amber. Amber's like, I wish this nigga shut up.
No, I wasn't thinking. Kanye, talking about learning and needing people close to you who you can talk to and who you can trust. You know, that's all I'll say about that.
But yeah, those were some of my favorite moments of the past year.
Oh my gosh, and I almost forgot about Dr. Akuya.
Yes, that episode giving us advice about the pandemic and how to actually.
I feel like I'm saying her name wrong.
Yeah.
Please correct me, Don.
When our question was, what is one of the things that you need to do to make it through the pandemic? And she said, lower your standards. I was like,
that's this episode right here. I got it on right here.
Yeah,
is this the one? Oh, this is the one.
When she said lower your standards, I was like, that makes so much sense. Trying to make it through this thing, change the way that you think about what it means for something to be like acceptable, excellent, passable. That was huge for me.
Yeah.
Also, my friend Christina Foster, she was another one who was on and she she was also another one. She dropped some serious diamonds, talked about being both Black and Mexican, you know, growing up, you know, with his Black nationalist views but being around Mexican people, but then the European influence that she had when she went off to college and all these different things that just influenced how she understood her Blackness. That was super dope.
And speaking again about learning in the moment, that was a moment too where I felt like I did have assumptions about what I thought multiracial people like their growing up experience was. And so immediately just like I didn't struggle with my identity growing up. It's like she had a perspective, and that was clarifying too for me. And I also think it also just provides a parallel, you know, an alternative narrative, because I have also heard a lot of multiracial people say, I did have a lot of identity issues growing up. I was actually just watching this hair video earlier this morning about this one actress who said she was raised by a white mother, and ever since she was 9 years old, she always got dropped off at the hairstylist because her mom just said, I can't do your hair at all. I'm done, you know? So she didn't. And so it wasn't until the pandemic where she actually had to do her hair herself. And so that's part of what the story that she was sharing online, which is how she actually is managing her own hair care routine now that she was forced into actually having to take care of her hair because she never learned. She always had someone else taking it. And someone else doing it. And it just made me also think like about what it means to have a child who is who identifies or has more of the features of the race that you birthed them with, or just like, you know, mixed race adoption, all of that. And it's just like basically thinking about what Christina said, and also thinking about this woman's experience that she shared that I watched this morning. It's just like there's so many different narratives. So I need to make sure that within my kind of like conceptual framing of different things to be open to completely different perspectives, because I do not have all the data out there in the world. I do not know everyone's experience. So I do not want to use a sweeping generalization, period. I must recognize that my assumptions come from specific narratives, and that somebody's experience can absolutely be outside of that narrative. And I can be open to that because that is within the range of possibility, because anything is possible. And I don't know every single multiracial person and their experience growing up. And so I think that's so important, especially in this, like, this age where people just are so opinionated about just stuff that a lot of times they don't know either nothing about, or they have just a very small scope of experience with, and people just spew so much stuff online. It's just crazy to me. And it's just like, or there's just so much, there's truthiness, there's false information, there's fake news, all of the different ways that people talk about the information that's out there. I think just being open to the fact that you do not have the full range of experiences ever. Ever. So all of my opinions, I can say that this is for me, and recognize that either like if I have assumptions about things, I can also know that this is a limited perspective, and yet I don't have to invalidate my perspective because it is made up of all of my experiences in my life. So I'm not just going to be like, oh, well, I shouldn't have a perspective at all. It's like, no, my perspective is based on all of the experiences that I've had, and I'm not going to invalidate my experience in that this is the conclusion that I came to, and I'm okay with that based on what my experience is. I don't want to deny that I am a Black cisgender woman who grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, which is the United States South, grew up Christian. That comes with a lot of perspective, and it comes with a certain experience. And so I don't want to deny that. And also I can say that I'm open to the different ways that things are being. With that, do y'all remember we had an episode about, can you be pro-Black and date white? So we talked about that. We talked about like what that even means. That was a while ago. I wonder if we were to watch that now, what our perspectives would be, if they have changed, if they have
not. That's a good question, because I don't remember what I said, but I remember being like, oh, this is there's no clear side in terms of like being a firm yes or firm no. I don't know if I don't remember what I said. I know that's how I think I felt then, and that's kind of how I feel now.
What is it though? You didn't say what it was.
That there's no firm yes or no to that question. That the answer is probably a little bit more complicated, only because I know people who are blackity black, and then I find out that they have a white boo, and I'm like, oh, would not have guessed that. There are other people who are like, the Clarence Thomases, and then they have a Black spouse, and I'm like, oh, I'm surprised. I don't know. I just feel like it's a little complicated.
It is. It's complex. Yeah. Crazy mixed up world.
See, I don't know that one. See, y'all be singing songs. Really? That's another thing about these episodes. I'll be singing songs and y'all don't be knowing them.
Y'all know what song really goes hard?
No, Amber, remember when you put us on to Don't Hit Me on My Nextel chart?
Oh yeah.
That's the song. That is a classic. And like again, I said it's akin to a Negro spiritual, and we should take it as serious. We should. I'm not even playing. It's not a game. It's not a game. You know what we did? We haven't done yet? We haven't done a full out music episode.
So
we just completely focused on music.
I was gonna say,
what you gonna say?
Well, we were gonna talk about this in the meeting because we have meetings after the shows. That for June, June is Black Music Month. Black Music.
I didn't know that. Yes. Do this.
Oh, I was gonna say for one of our episodes, and I know it's Father's Day too, so we got to do a Father's Day episode. But I was gonna say Black Music History Month. Maybe that could be our next episode. We talk about just Black music.
Yay! Well, this actually is perfect too, because we were gonna also wrap up part of the conversation with what are some of our visions for the future. What are some of the topics that we want to discuss for future episodes? Things that we haven't gotten a chance to discuss yet that we'd like to talk about, or what might we want to do differently?
I guess I'll go first. So topics, I want to be, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. One of the things I feel like I've been holding back from Street Academy really getting bigger and better, bigger, blacker, and better is I haven't been very personal, and I'm very good at that. I'm very good. Even if you listen to my art, even if you listen to my poetry from back in the day, even if you listen to my music, my albums, I'm very good at putting together creative pieces. I'm good at what I do. I ain't gonna lie about that part. I'm good at rapping. I'm good at poetry. I'm good at it. But I'm not very open. You don't know a lot about what I'm actually going through because I'm very private. You can only put together pieces in the song and you can say, oh, he's probably talking about this. Oh, he's probably talking about that. Oh, this is. And so, but what I realize is that the most, like the best, like the people who've influenced us the most are people who are vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? People who are vulnerable, people who are sensitive, people who let you in to their lives. That's what I like about certain podcasts, like podcasts where people just really just let you in and just tell you, hey, this is what it is. This is what I've been going through, blah, blah, blah. They don't let you into every aspect of who they are, but they just are open, you know, and that's something I started doing with Afrolantica was I started to be more open with my art, start letting people into my struggles, things that, you know, things that I have been struggling with at that moment, things that I have been struggling with for a minute. That's what I want to start doing with this podcast. I want to start being more open, less private. Especially now is a great time because our viewership is not like at thousands and thousands of views. So I can say it and maybe a lot of people won't even see it until later when and one of the this is also part of the vision. I believe that, you know, and everybody could talk about it on their own time. I know these sisters personally, so I know what they're doing. I know where their careers are going. And I'm just telling y'all right now, these sisters are about to blow up. Like, seriously. Like, the world is getting ready to know who these sisters are. I promise you that. Look at Jackie. She gonna leave. You gotta come back up.
Thank you for putting me on to that little
come back in. So y'all are about to know who these sisters are. And I believe that once their books come out, once their organizations get, you know, started, once their movements get out, once their platforms get even bigger, then people are gonna say, yo, Dr. Hater, I need to find out, like, I need to find out what else she's been doing. You know what I'm saying? And then they're gonna come back to Street Academy podcast by then had 100 episodes, and that's when you're gonna see the views go from, you know, 25, 50, 100, 200 to 20,000, 30,000. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Amber Camilla. As Amber's platform grows, as her influence is already crazy. But as her influence continues to grow, as she continues to, you know, blossom and mature, and her movement continues to grow, and her effects on people continue to blossom, and just everything she's doing, I promise you, that's what, to me, that's what I see with this platform. Not necessarily what's happening now, but in 2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years, when all of our status just gets even bigger, and people are like, we need to find out more about them, and we can say on our websites or whatever, hey, check out the Street Academy podcast thing. And literally overnight, I think it's just gonna be crazy. So I say all that. Why was I saying that? Oh, I said all that to say that at that moment, I think me being vulnerable and me being open about just my personal life, I think would definitely come in handy. So it'll work right now because it won't be as many people seeing it. And then, you know, by then when our views do skyrocket and when our platform does skyrocket, it'll just be something that people can look back and just see as a part of our story, a part of our growth. So that is what I really look forward to doing, to being more vulnerable, being more open, letting our viewers in and people into at least my personal life. So I want to do that. Some other things I see for the future, I would love for us at some point to be able to release an episode every week. That's a goal that I have in mind for Street Academy in the future, to get some advertising dollars so that we can start getting paid for this. That's another goal. And
good advertising dollars. I ain't advertising no Camel cigarettes.
Yeah. No, we ain't doing that. One agree with that.
Right.
Black-owned companies brownies for sure. Please.
Mhm.
Please,
Yeah, we ain't doing camel cigarettes. Now we might do some, you know what I'm saying, some of the
Sure.
devil's lettuce though.
So what?
I say we might do some of the devil's lettuce. We ain't doing you know. You know what I'm saying? I know
It
Nick
does
Cole
not
just
belong
opened that
to the devil.
one
It is.
dispensary, yeah, there.
Yeah,
It
is.
Yeah, we can do that. But yeah, advertising dollars, man. And one episode I'm really looking forward to. Number one is the fatherhood episode. I'm looking forward.
Me too.
Yes. Wait, that should be like one of the next episodes because Father's Day is about to be here.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Also, I'm looking forward to the episode about Greek organizations and street. That's gonna be so fun.
Greek organizations and street gangs.
Yeah, like how are they similar and how do they differ?
Yo,
Yeah,
I would love that.
so I'm looking forward to that episode. Those are some of the things. And just us growing and just learning so much from each other and from the guests that we have on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of like piggyback on the Father's Day episode, I said this earlier, but I'm looking forward to having more Black men as guests on the show. Black women hold the keys, but Black men hold the keys too. So, you know, I'm looking forward to having more men on the show. And not to be like discriminatory, folks of all genders. Like, I would love for us to have a space for folks of all genders to be on the show. Black people of all genders to be on the show. I am looking forward to us like putting together like a series. I don't know what the topic would be, but I think that we could do like a really good series. And I mean, we've kind of dabbled in that like a little bit with like the motherhood, like part 1, part 2, with the identity, part 1, part 2. But, you know, I'm just thinking about like a really well put together series on like a topic that we could drop at some point in the future. Yeah, those are just like a couple of the things that I'm looking forward to. Like, I have some other ideas, but like, I want to talk with y'all about them before sharing them with the world.
Oh, okay. I'm excited. I have a few things that are like, just like one, I do want us to get to the place where we can have an episode with all of us in the same room. One day that'll happen. And we'll have like the cameras and all that kind of stuff, kind of like how they do with the Breakfast Club. And it's just like, I look forward to there being some moments where we have like, we're like in person, got that energy. Like, I'm all about like the space and us sharing space and us sharing energy together. With that, I would also love for us to do some on location episodes where either like all of us are outside or in nature or something like that. Like where like either I can set myself up outside and you're outside wherever, I mean, y'all are outside wherever you all are. Like, I want that kind of like getting into nature, us being in a forest, us being on a beach, like something like that. Like, I really want to get into nature, or being on a farm, or being just kind of in some of the places that we might bring up, whether it's a doctor's office. So it's just like really just changing up the different spaces so that we can experience what it is like to be in the world, you know? I feel like that's so important. Space is so important. Environment is important. Another thing we have not dabbled in, and straight up, we have not talked about sex, baby. When you talk about you, let's talk about all the good things. Like, we haven't had a straight episode.
Just like an episode. Okay.
It's about like sex and sexuality, and especially sex and sexuality. And then we haven't had one about, we haven't had one about sex, sexuality, gender, all of that. And then, of course, like you said, bringing in non-binary people, trans people who are having a more of a range of experiences here, and talking about that. And then we also haven't talked straight on about religion, straight up. We did have that episode with Sydney, where we talked about specifically like,
and Jasper too. We had the one with Jasper too. That was a big religion.
Oh yes, those two. Yeah. Like, there was one where it was Jasper was the one about like sexual predators, and then I think the other one, the one with Sydney, I think we were talking about more like blackness and be like, can you be black and also be Christian kind of thing. I think
It was like black and social justice, or like the church and social.
Yeah, something like that. And so I feel like we've talked about it in that way, but I would also be curious about just talking about like religion in terms of just its effects on people, period. And also because all of us have come from the same religious institution and what that experience is like. And that goes back to you, John, talking about like getting a little bit more personal on here and talking about some of our experiences. So those are some things on my mind. I feel like, especially, you know, topics that are considered taboo, where we aren't afraid to actually get into them. And I feel like sex is one of the most taboo topics across the planet. And I would love to see, if we were to do a series, for example, sex would be a very interesting one to talk about.
That would be
sex and pleasure and all of that together, because pleasure and sex aren't necessarily the same thing. So I think that's important too. So we've got more to come. We've got more. We have so much. We're so ready for this.
Yeah, I'm excited.
This a praise break?
That's more like an EDM break.
No, that's the sports thing.
Oh, that is?
Yeah, ESPN or something like that.
See, this is how I'm so churchy. I thought I was supposed to break out my tambourine.
Well, we can get it in any kind of way. Bring out your tambourine. It's all good. Yo, that reminds me too, in terms of episodes, it's all about the arts as well. Doing something either in a museum or bringing in visual artists. Also, I mean, Atlanta is such a place with murals. I would love to do some kind of like mural conversation or mural tour. That also just might be something personal I need to do. Maybe it doesn't need to be on the podcast, but also it's because we haven't been in
Let's go, Amber. Yeah, let's go, because I want to do that. I want to do that this summer.
I want us to get more street. Like, where can we get, like, we are Street Academy podcast. I would love, you know what I would love to do? I would love for us to do like a call-in show, or like to be posted up somewhere and like passers by just come and like ask questions or whatever.
Ooh, that'd be
like,
fun.
Actually, it's like Street Academy, taking Street Academy podcast. I would love that. I think that would be so much fun. I think that would be so much fun. So I would like for us to get more, like, y'all can tell the theme. One of the themes is being more outside and being a little bit more gritty in some of the stuff. Like, let's go for it.
Yeah, I like that too. Yo, I got a feeling. I think it's gonna be a grind. It's a marathon, but I think we on to something, y'all. I keep saying it. We on to something. And everybody who been rocking with us from the beginning, my homeboy Kenneth just left a bunch of messages on Facebook, just showing us love on the anniversary. Everybody who's been rocking with us from the beginning, thank y'all. We appreciate y'all. Everybody who leave comments, who who show us love, who inbox us, who DMX us. Shout out to DMX. That was a moment in the past year, showing love to DMX. But yeah, everybody who DMs us, who follows us, our followers are going up little by little, and I like that. We almost to 100.
That's beautiful.
We almost to 100. We getting there, so definitely follow us. Follow us, and look, we just gonna keep it moving. We gonna keep running, man. But this honestly, it's not even about that. It's really just about the fun. We have so much fun doing this, and people have fun watching it. And yeah, it's dope, man.
So, what are our takeout boxes for this episode?
Oh.
Who gonna go first?
I'll go. Do y'all remember that
episode
with Saved by the Bell where Jesse had taken those pills?
Absolutely.
And she was like, I'm so excited.
Yes.
That's how I feel.
How are you gonna tie this in?
Right.
But I was just thinking about, I'm so excited. I'm just excited. And that's how I feel. That's my takeout. I'm so scared. It was great.
I was wondering where the connection between Saved by the Bell and Street Academy was going to come.
Right. Right.
I love it. Let's do
I
it.
love Saved by the Bell. I was there for Lisa. I was, and all of Zach's antics. Did y'all know Dustin Diamond died earlier this year?
Yes.
Was that this year?
Yeah, I didn't know
Screech?
Screech had passed.
Yeah, Screech died. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was so young. All right,
It feels like it was a while ago. And you know, I feel like I've seen him on different things like reality show type things. And so this might be like, you know, morbid to say, but when I heard the news that he died, I was like, oh, I thought he had been passed away, just given some of the antics that he was doing like in real life. But it really seemed like he was struggling with some different things. But you know, mental health is real, y'all. Take care of your minds and your spirits.
Have some good people around you, some friends. Don't be alone, which means you need to listen to people sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, back to takeout boxes.
Yeah, takeout box. I love the things that we talked about in terms of where we want to go in the future, having more black men on the episodes, having a series, being on location, you know, coming together, which I think we'll probably do in the next episode. Because we were going to try to do it this episode, but you know, I think we were like going out of town and stuff like that, so it was difficult to do that with this episode. But I know that that's something we'll do in the near future. But yeah, just like all of the big ideas that we have, and again, it's a marathon, so we got time to, you know what I'm saying, implement all of those things. But as long as there's constant growth with what we're doing, I think that's the most important part. And clearly we've grown a lot from when we started to where we are now. We've grown a lot, so we should be extremely proud of ourselves, extremely proud of what we put together. We've done more in 1 year than, you know, what a lot of people may have done with a podcast or may have done with other stuff in 2 or 3 or 4 years. I like what Jackie said. Literally, from 2020 to 2021 is like 50 years worth of history. Pandemic, you know, racial oppression, social injustice, you know, political upheaval, Palestine and Israel. Like, it's just so much.
An insurrection at the Capitol.
Insurrection at the Capitol in 1 year. You know what I'm saying? So we should be extremely proud of ourselves. We should definitely hold space for ourselves for what we've accomplished. I'm super proud of us. Yeah, so that's my takeout box.
Yeah, I echo all that. I'm excited about where we're going. We have so many ideas, which I think is a good problem to have because we're trying to be around for a while. So even if we don't see one of these ideas happen in 2021, there's 2022, 2023. So yeah, so I'm just excited for the future.
It's the Roaring 20s, baby.
We really are. We really are in
the new millennium too. So
wild.
Here.
That's another thing I need y'all help with. The title for these episodes, I'd be struggling coming up with titles.
I'm surprised. You the wordsmith.
I know.
But we should just talk about it before it gets posted.
Yeah, I'd be struggling, y'all. So I think that's a good title for this episode, the anniversary episode, the Roaring 20s or something. Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But with that,
I'm full. Everybody good. Hearts and minds clear.
Clear.
Okay.
Oh, let's start doing that.
A little mindfulness.
Hold it. And now release. Yes.
Get all that out.
It feels good.
Man, this is beautiful. It's been another episode, y'all. Street Academy Podcast. But we keep one foot in the academy and one foot in the streets. We thank y'all for rocking with us. We thank y'all for being a part of this journey, this thing that we've been doing officially for a year now. Everybody who's DM'd us, commented, liked a post, shared a post, hit us up in person, text us, everything. We really, really, really appreciate y'all. Everybody who follows us, subscribe. Just thank y'all so much. If you want to follow us, you can follow us at Street Academy Podcast on IG, Street Academy Podcast 1, I think, is on Twitter. Subscribe. You can also catch the audio on Street Academy Podcast, anywhere that you get, most places where you can get podcasts, on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. It might be on Google Play. It's all over the place. So you could also Google Street Academy Podcast, and we the first thing to show up because ain't nobody doing what we doing.
Ain't nobody got it.
Ain't nobody doing what we doing. Period. You know, whatever. So, that's what it is. So we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. The next year gonna be greater, better than the first year, and it's just only gonna get better. So thank y'all. We love y'all.
Woohoo!
Oh, yes. You put my hat back
we
on.
gotta end it. Oh, wait, we gotta end it with this right here. Hold up. Oh, we gotta end it with hold on. Let's do this. My bad. I should have had this ready. See. Oh, one thing we need a producer. So that'll already have this stuff ready. Happy birthday to Street Academy Podcast. We out.
Happy birthday, y'all.
Bye. Happy birthday to us.
That got their feet upon the neck of the haters, the game and the devil like came